Greetings, my friends. I want to thank you all for subscribing. I want to thank all of my channel members for supporting me in this endeavor to save pop culture. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you. Like the Bible says, as ye reap, so shall ye sow. It appears that Disney is learning the truth of this saying now. After years of abusing fans who were disappointed with the sequel trilogy, humiliating Luke and killing Han and promoting identity politics over sound narrative strategies, fans, it seems, have had enough of Star Wars, and the brand is, at this point, damaged to say the least, if not actually moribund. Kathleen Kennedy famously declared the Force is female and made aggressive moves to make that declaration reality. She stacked the Lucasfilm story group with a lot of women who knew diddly squat about Star Wars. She hired Ruan Johnson to methodically demolish George Lucas's galaxy far, far away, making a mockery of her promise to George to treat his characters with respect and to preserve their integrity. Anyone who called out Kennedy and Lucasfilm for these abuses was declared an ist and a phobe and a crying man-baby. Well, now it seems, according to a series of rumors my sources have provided me, it appears that the so-called ists and phobes and man-babies are taking their revenge on Disney by simply ignoring The Mandalorian. At this point, it's important for me to note that what I'm about to tell you is information I have been provided by my sources, and since I cannot independently verify this information, I must ask you to regard this as rumor and to take it with a grain of salt. Let me preface what I'm about to tell you with some information I have firsthand that is not a rumor. This is fact. I have reviewed Season 1 of The Mandalorian, as well as the first episode of Season 2, and I must tell you that these 3 videos have underperformed horribly on my channel. Part 1 of my review of The Mandalorian to date has received only 44,000 views. Not terrible, but definitely below average for me. Part 2 of my Season 1 recap and review was much worse. It received only 18,000 views, which is one of the worst video performances I've had in a year. This is terrible for my channel by any metric whatsoever. And my spoiler-free review of The Mandalorian Season 2 premiere? It got 30,000 views. Again. An awful performance for my channel. Now, those who did watch those reviews praised them. They said I did a good and thorough job reviewing the show, and spoiler alert for the vast majority of you who did not watch those reviews, in general, I enjoyed the show. I did offer criticisms of it, for it is not perfect, but in general, I thought it was a genial show. Packed with too many member berries, perhaps, but otherwise likable enough, with spots of brilliance and no agenda politics. Mandalorian is an un-Kennedyized show. It has been de-Kennedied by Favreau and Filoni, and for that and other reasons, I applaud it. That said, very few people watched my reviews, and I started to wonder, is it me, or is it The Mandalorian? Well, I've been hearing rumblings about Disney being worried about The Mandalorian for several weeks now. My sources told me that about 2 weeks out from The Mandalorian premiere, Disney was worried about the lack of interest and enthusiasm for The Mandalorian out in the fandom. No one was really talking about it on social media. There wasn't the kind of buzz that Disney was hoping for, and this they found troubling. Personally, I figured it was just all the political stuff distracting fans from the premiere of Season 2, and yet, now I have received some information from sources regarding how many people have watched The Mandalorian Season 2 premiere, and if true, these figures are nothing short of disastrous. The evening of October 30th, I received the following message from one of my agents, quote, "We just got some info. Season 2, Episode 1 barely made it past 40,000 views on its first day of release, and Disney is panicking." Now, it was number 1 on Disney+, but that's not saying much, unquote. My agent then stated the opinion, quote, "This show better pick up the pace and stop playing it safe." Now, I'm not sure if that's the opinion of my agent personally, or of executives behind the scenes trying to figure out what's going on. But I can tell you that notion doesn't make much sense. To know that the Season 2 premiere was a little slow, you'd have to watch the Season 2 premiere. In other words, you could only form the opinion that Chapter 9 wasn't riveting television after watching it. And people aren't watching it at all, if this rumor is true. But it gets worse, folks. Sunday evening, 3 days after the Mandalorian Season 2 premiere, I received the following dispatch from my source, quote, "As of this minute, according to 3 sources, The Mandalorian is barely past 52,000 views and Disney is in panic." My agent then went on to say, "As you know, we had a talk with one of our insiders just a few nights ago and we brought this up. They are going to have to put this show out there with no paywall to get eyes on the show." Again, I'm not sure if that's the opinion of my agent or if that's something being discussed inside Disney, but regardless of how you cut it, this is terrible news for Disney and Lucasfilm, if true. Consider, Disney Plus allegedly had 60 million subscribers as of August 4th, bumped up due to Hamilton being added to the subscription service. Personally, I can't fathom that, as I have no interest in rapping founding fathers, but hey, what do I know? My opinion is polluted by something called musical taste. But whatever. The point is, out of 60 million subscribers, the idea that 3 days after its release, over the weekend, The Mandalorian only has 52,000 views as of November 1st is a spectacular failure of mind-blowing proportions. In the heyday of Star Wars, before the dark times, before Kennedy, can you imagine any new Star Wars content being met with such colossal indifference? The show is not bad, people. A few quibbles aside, I like The Mandalorian, and I think Favreau and Filoni are doing a serviceable job under difficult circumstances, and I'm pulling for them to succeed. But holy shit! If this rumor is true, it is stark and clear evidence that Star Wars is a damaged brand, and what Kathleen Kennedy has sown with her divisive politics, Disney is now reaping. One of my folks thinks that, hey, people are just waiting to binge the episodes all at once. While that's possible, historically this is not proven to be the case. When a show is good enough, when the fan base is passionate, they can't wait to see an episode. Look at Game of Thrones before that show jumped The Night King. The ratings were through the roof, and Twitter and YouTube were swarmed with opinions, reviews, debates. There is none of that associated with The Mandalorian at this time. That much is clear. Look at the horribly tepid response to my reviews on my channel. I guess I should feel better about them, since if this rumor is true, it means almost as many people have watched my reviews as have watched Mandalorian Season 2 itself. But that is apocalypse-level bad news for Disney and Lucasfilm. It means that enthusiasm for the Star Wars brand is in the toilet. It means all the years of fan abuse by Kennedy and her band of cultural vandal activists has finally hit home, and The Mandalorian is simply not sufficiently compelling to make people forget how furious they are. In a very real sense, if this is true, it is a victory for consumers. It is a vindication for the fandom menace. It is a warning to corporations who think we're stupid enough to swallow whole any garbage they slap a brand name on. The Mandalorian is not garbage, far from it, but if the hostility and alienation that Kennedy has sown is as deep and divisive as these ratings seem to indicate, then this points to a fundamental damage to the brand itself. And even good shows will suffer when the fans have been told they're horrible people and are not welcome in the audience. The Force is female, you say? Okay, so be it. But I guess you shouldn't be surprised that your audience is gone when you hang a No Boys Allowed sign outside your clubhouse. When you tell half of your audience to basically shove off, you're not welcome here, Star Wars isn't really for you anymore, you cannot be surprised when people bail. People do not like being told they are unwelcome. They do not like being told that their opinions don't count, that they're toxic, that they're horrible, that they're trolls, just because they're protesting the wholesale destruction of something they love. At the end of the day, Disney has no one to blame but themselves for this lack of interest, if indeed the rumor is true. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry. Ha 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 ha.